Welcome to the Benefits of Forgiveness with Dr. Tai Ikomi, a program that enables you to experience the joy and wonders of forgiveness. Here is your host, Dr. Tai Ikomi, author of the book, Is Beauty for My Ashes.
Welcome to the Benefits of Forgiveness with Dr. Tai Ikomi. And we continue today on the series of the importance of forgiveness in the local church. The topic for today is emotional impact of unforgiveness in the local church. Forgiveness is often God's way of releasing the pain that is ready to explode inside of us. Hurting people hurt people. It's as simple as that, even in the church of God. Experience will bear this out. The church needs healing as well, and in order for the healing to take place in the church, forgiveness becomes imperative. The all-wise God has instilled some principles in the church, and we will do well to follow the advice of the all-wise God. One example of this advice relates to forgiveness. Forgiveness will alleviate many of the problems the church faces. And even here, forgiveness becomes its own reward for the person who gives it out. The Apostle Paul warned the Galatian church of the consequences of hurting one another. Galatians chapter 5 verse 19 says, "But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another." There are many ways in which forgiveness can be a healing balm to the church of God. We will consider a few of them. Number one, being unforgiven creates negative atmosphere. Being unforgiven creates an atmosphere of anger, intolerance, and impatience. Forgiveness is an instrument that calms an otherwise emotional and turbulent atmosphere in the church. Unforgiveness creates and sustains emotional chaos in the church because it is hazardous to our emotions. An unforgiven person, for example, is an angry person, whether they know it or not. Oftentimes, the result of an unforgiven heart is that the anger towards one person becomes directed to others who are innocent. The injured party becomes angry too and retaliates overtly or softly. This starts a vicious cycle. Proverbs 15 verse 18 says, "A wrathful man stirreth up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife." Number two, people who do not forgive are unable to see the good in people. Their hard-heartedness has colored their perspective about life. They have been hurt, they have been injured, they have been betrayed in the past, and the pain can be even more intense if this took place in the church. They cannot see objectively anymore. And because they have not forgiven, they are tied to the past, a past of hate and negativity. When such negative people come together in the local church, imagine what can happen. The negative spirit will be compounded. Why? Because there is no patience whatsoever. Proverbs chapter 26 verse 21 says, "As coals are to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife." When we are unforgiven, we do not leave room for brothers and sisters to make mistakes. They dare not. If they step on our toes, we lash back at them because we are angry. When we hear that they have done something wrong or they have committed a sin, immediately judgment follows. Cast them in a bad light, and we are not willing to release them in our hearts. To make matters worse, unforgiven and religious people often tend to quote scriptures to affirm their action, oftentimes taking the word of God out of context. Sometimes they appeal to a false sense of righteousness, when actually they are demonstrating their own inability to exhibit the fruit of patience and long-suffering. this is your first time of listening to my message and you like it, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to comment below and to hit the notification button to receive more of my messages. If you would like to have a hard copy of my messages on forgiveness, please visit amazon.com. The teaching comes from my collection, Forgiveness, Discipleship by Dr. Tai Ikomi, a 12-volume collection on forgiveness. God bless you. They are not willing to take an introspective look at themselves and admit their own shortcomings, which are mainly impatience, unforgiveness, and a lack of love and compassion. Their focus is on the other person's offense. They have managed to convince themselves that their unforgiveness and judgmental heart is not only justified, but that it is also somehow beneficial to the church at large. This mindset, however, is not reminiscent of the spirit of love. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 4 says, "Charity suffers long, and is kind. Charity envies not. Charity vaunts not itself, is not puffed up." Number 3, being unforgiven creates the tendency to hurt others. Refusing to forgive creates room to hurt other people. When an unforgiving spirit festers in the local church, you have a group of people who are living under the influence of not just anger, as stated above, but also under the influence of perpetual pain, anxiety, depression, and sadness. When we are offended, it is as if someone inflicts a wound directly on our emotions, which result in emotional pain. When we do not forgive, the pain remains there. It remains within us. With so many people experiencing hurt, there must be consequences when they come together. Unforgiving people have experienced hurt, and they have a tendency, therefore, to hurt others. The abuse has become the abuser. They look for ways to hurt others with their words and with their actions. Why? Because that is all that they know. They are hurting, and they want others to hurt as well. Misery loves company. People who have been hurt are not joyful people. Thus, they cannot pass on joy to others. We cannot give out what we do not have. An usher in the church who is hurting inside because of being unforgiven may not be optimal at fulfilling the duties of her post, for example. Our actions may perpetuate a tradition of hurt. There is a story of Sister Hilary who said nasty things about her bosom and childhood friend, Sister Beverly. She told her secret to others. She shared sensitive information about this close friend to those who cared to know of how she had committed abortion when she was only 19 years old. Beverly felt hurt, needless to say. Soon, another friend, Dennis, confides in Beverly. However, because of a misunderstanding they both had a few months later, Beverly seized an opportunity to expose her friend Dennis, just as Hilary had also exposed her about 3 months earlier. Coincidentally, Dennis too had committed abortion when she was only 16 years old. This is a pattern that Hilary had created, and now Beverly had repeated it, and so the offense goes on, and she passes on such a bad tradition to others. The tradition of the abuse becoming the abuser. However, if she had been taught to forgive, then Denise would not have had to be another victim of Hilary's transgression towards Beverly. May God help His church. Number 4, forgiveness heals hurts among members of the church. Forgiveness is a cure for the tendency to hurt people. Forgiveness brings about release of cemented anger, resentment, pain, and hurt, and all those negative emotions. People are happier within themselves and with those around them when they forgive others. Sadness and joy are both contagious. A smile from one person, for example, could change someone else's mood. People come to church to receive answers to alleviate their pain. And when the church is taught to forgive, what a joyous group that they become. The community would be like a true family that we look forward to being with. The early church enjoyed the spirit of camaraderie, of friendship. There was joy amidst them. Acts chapter 2 verses 46 and 47 say, "And they continue daily with one accord in the temple, and breaking bread from house to house, did eat their meat with gladness and singleness of heart, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to the church daily such as will be saved." This was the atmosphere of the early church, and that should also be the atmosphere of today's church, where we eat together, we come together, we worship together with gladness, with joy, and singleness of heart, with unity. The church was united, and for there was no unforgiving spirit to usher in strife and anger in their midst. They were a happy bunch of people. Joy prevailed in the early church, and it can do so today as well. In conclusion, greater emphasis should be placed on forgiveness in the local church because of its role in interpersonal relationships in the church. As believers, we endeavor to recognize the need to forgive others on a daily basis. It is an indispensable ingredient to ensuring the emotional health of the local church. God bless you.